I don't see anybody here for public comments. Website then?
Sure, do you want to
Oh, so we're not on yet?
meeting or?
Are we on?
Well, I thought Cecil B. DeMel's was ready.
Are you ready?
We're on.
Thank you.
Go. Start again.
Okay, we'll call the meeting of the supervisory union to order, and the superintendent's on his way, and in the meantime, we'll get our presentation on a new website from Mr. Barnes, the technology director for the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union. And even those of you at home should pay close attention, because a lot of people always wonder, how can we get information about the SVSU? Well, this will be the way.
Yes, thanks for reminding me of that. And one of the reasons that we changed over and created a new site was to try to be consistent across the different districts and the different buildings with the site, and also to make it be easy to navigate, fairly intuitive. I apologize, I'm very, very hoarse. I'm just coming off that respiratory thingy, and I'm usually hoarse anyway, so this is a little bit worse. If you can't hear me, let me know. Okay, so this is the homepage of the SVSU site. Okay, and it's, I'm trying my little remote thing here too. One of the things, as I mentioned, was the consistency. So if we go to Molly Stark, for example, we're going to see a similar sort of a page. I gotta do a two-handed thing. Sorry. La, 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 la. You know what? This might be, well, no. There we go. So you have pictures over here on the left that scroll through. We have information over on the right. I'm going to go back. And all of the sites are the same except for Shaftesbury. They had a pre-existing site that they wanted to hang on to for now, and maybe they'll change later on, and that would be wonderful. But the same sort of a basic format. We got a little information over here on the right. We got the pictures that scroll through. I'm going to scroll down. And we have a calendar down here that has the upcoming events on it. In the middle, we have contact information, and over on the right, news. You know, it might be news about anything that's relevant to the district or the school that's where the site is located on. Okay, is presenting. So, I'm gonna go back up. So that's just the home page. Now we have a page here. It's hard for me to see it, but I believe it says About Us. Okay, if you clicked on the About Us, you would get, this is the most current thing that we have was Catherine McClure's report from last February, and Mr. Culkeen will be writing something, a fresh message from the superintendent that will be placed there as soon as that's ready to go. But then you go down here and you see announcements. So again, we're at the About Us. See announcements. We have a couple of announcements here. One that telling about the broadband accessibility from Comcast. I think that's been discussed at previous board meetings, where families who have students on free reduced lunch, they can get Comcast internet for $10 a month. So that's been in place for a while, and it'll stay there because we want people to be aware of that constantly. Another announcement down here below that, just scroll down. And this is Karen Burnell welcoming people, telling them a little bit about the new Division Street location. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on any of this stuff. Mostly I want to show the navigation. And this says something in events, maybe? What does that say? I can't read it from here. News and events. Okay, this is about to be updated. The spelling bee was last weekend. We haven't taken this off yet, but it's there. But also because you can scroll down over here on the right in news and events, you can get a calendar, and now you get a scrolling calendar by day, so you can scroll down to any day and see what's going on. Veterans Day, Shaftesbury board meeting, so forth. Okay.
Who's going to keep that up?
I keep it up with several of my staff. There's one or two other people in buildings that also help. Once it's building it was a major challenge, or not challenge really, but it was a major operation. But now that it's built, keeping it up is the least of our worries. As long as we're getting the information from the schools, if they want something put on, we can put it on in no time at all. It's a minute.
Someone in Pownell has to call you to update this.
Somebody in Pownell has to call me for an update. Yep. But we could possibly give, here's the deal. We could give access to certain people to control, but if you have access to anything, you have access to everything. And I'm not really leaping at the opportunity to give access to everything to people who maybe aren't as careful with their grammar as I would be, being a former English teacher, or people who would just want to, would change the format or decide to buy another site for themselves. Not that anybody would do that, but it's a privacy issue, it's a control issue. We need to keep certain clamps down on that.
So the principal, I assume, will be the person to contact or delegate someone to contact you?
The principals could do that, yes.
The previous site, nothing was ever updated. My confidence level was low.
Yeah, I know it is, Jim. It's a phone call away. You know, if you needed something put on here, you call me, or you call Elaine in the office, or Ann Hilliard could address this as well, and we change it. We change it. I don't want to give access to the general public. You know, we can have that discussion, but right now I just want to go through show you the tricks here. Yes, sir.
I'm trying to, as a policy person, I try to find information on drafts, what the agenda is for a given meeting. I can find the date of the meeting, but I can't navigate to policy drafts,
Yep.
or an agenda for that meeting.
I'll do it right now. You see here, we have a link called Quick Links. Quick Links gives you some options. Quick Links for parents in the community, Quick Links for staff, Quick Links for students, Quick Links for the board. If you click on that quick link, and it brings you to the school board page. And school board documents. Everybody here is listed for each building, each district would have their board listed. This is the SVSU site, so obviously it's you guys listed. If you want to have links to your emails on your names, we could do that. And we do it somewhere else in the site. And we can adjust that as you desire. So that's no problem. But let me go here. Let me finish this up. So SVSU Board documents. This takes you to a Google site. You probably have seen this. I'm not sure. Okay? And if you scroll down right here, it's your file cabinet. Okay? Current. You want to click on Current. That's going to be all your current documents. So we have the regular meeting here. Okay. I'll just go there. This is today's meeting. Click on that, and you're going to see the agenda in a folder. Okay. Click on the agenda, and you'll see the agenda. If you click on this, the agenda used to be linked. You have a question while I'm going here?
Well, there isn't one on policy.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's under policies. Hang on.
Okay.
Let me do this first.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I'm a little
No
bit
problem.
unsure, maybe.
So if you click on agenda, it'll take you back to this, but it's just actually opening up again. So we can click out of that.
But
Yep.
what was confusing just before you got to that is that when you clicked on regular meeting, it says September 9th, 19th. And those
Yep.
dates, have everybody going all around. If you just added stuff on there, shouldn't it have been
Yeah.
automatically updated or what?
Well, this is something I noticed the other day. No, it's not going to be automatically updated, but we will put in the date. That's the date that the information went on to the site, was September 19th. And I noticed that yesterday when I was playing around with this to get ready for showing you guys. And I think two things we could do that make sense to me. First of all, we could put the date of the meeting for the regular meetings, but you wouldn't necessarily do that for all of these other meetings. I don't know, I guess we could. But one of the things that I think would help is if I put this regular meeting, everything's alphabetized right now. So that's why the regular meeting is the second thing on the list. It's the second thing, R's the next letter in this particular list. But we can put that at the top, Leon. And I don't know, and we can certainly put the date of the meeting instead of the date that it was put up there. If that helps, that's
Well,
not a
the date was
problem.
put up there is useless.
Well, that's what we,
Who
Jim,
cares?
please don't say it's useless. I don't know, why is it useless?
I withdraw my comment.
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
But the date in which we come to the meeting is more reflective of what everybody's gonna be looking for.
Exactly.
So, and that's what we would like to see in any way possible.
Yes.
Okay, that should be, like today is the 24th, and that's for, what we would like to be able to get out of that. If that's for this meeting, I mean, you have to look at, I don't know how many other meetings are going on today, but meetings for the day the 24th should be up there.
This is just the SVSU Board regular meeting, and you're absolutely right. No problem, Leon, you've made a request, I will see that it gets changed, and I agree 100%, it should be like that. So there's no problem. We will change that, but just so you know, it's just regular you're at the SVSU Board site, so this is the
Okay.
regular meeting for the SVSU Board.
Okay.
Okay, so, and we click on that again, so we go to the packet, because there are a lot of things I think that are a big improvement over the way that things were before, and we'll see it more when we get to the policy maybe, but now instead of having the linked agenda where you link to each individual thing, that I know I've heard plenty of complaints from people in the past that they couldn't open a certain thing or whatever. These are all PDF documents. If you have Adobe Reader on your computer and updated, you shouldn't have any problem opening it. Yes, Leon?
I just want to go back.
That's
That one of
okay.
the key things that got everybody is the step right before this, because it took me forever to look at it. When you first got there, it says 2 items, it showed the agenda, but nobody knew really to click on those 2 little guys over there. And that's important.
Yep. And that's why we're going through this. So then you click on any of the documents and it's gonna, there it is. And you should be able to do anything you want with that as far as printing it out if you want to, or just being able to get it. Now, when you close it out, it's gonna close out. You gotta go back to your regular meeting. You gotta go to your packet. But everything is there, and we're trying to name it as clearly as possible. Some of these things have kind of long names, but NOM would be a NOM, a NOM form. The minutes, pretty obvious. A lot of NOM forms today. So we try to make it fairly easy to see once you open that folder to see what's in there. Okay. And the same thing would be on the policy committee. Any of the committees. Okay. So I'm going to close out of that, and I'm going to go back here. And I can't see that far, so what's that one say?
News and events.
Okay, we already did that.
Employment and opportunities.
Okay, that basically we post job openings.
Policies.
Was policies there?
Right.
Great. So the policies themselves that are posted, not the ones we're working on, that would be the policy committee
Yeah.
documents, but the policies themselves, I think is a lot cleaner. You've got, your 1,000, 2,000 through the 7,000s.
Those are great.
You just click on that, and they're named clearly what they are, the policy number. Before you had all those PDF code name things going on, these are called what they're called with the appropriate number, and it's easy to open it up. Comes up right away, you're good to go. Okay? Now, so I'm going to do a mini review, just real quick. As soon as I get back there. Sorry, I'm not so fast on this mouse. So we got the main page that has your, the work or whatever that's been done in the SVSU scrolling by on a slideshow. with a little bit of information, a calendar down below. I'm not going to scroll down to it again, but it's there, you know it's there. Contact information and so forth. Then we have these links. Anybody have a question before I move over to the quick links?
I had a problem accessing it because.
Problem accessing what, Jim?
As far as using the site, I think it was because my browser was too old. Is
That
this,
could
this-
be.
is this a real high-end, a brand-new browser application, or? I don't know the right words to use, but a lot of stuff wasn't working, and I think it kept telling me my browser is out of date.
Yeah, that's just you having to update your browser. It should work well. It seems to work well with Firefox, Internet Explorer, and Chrome. I prefer Chrome myself because we do a lot of, Google Docs is easier to manipulate there. It's just, it's just the one I go to. But it works well in all of them as long as you're up to date. So do you know how to update your browser, or is that something we could do for you?
They keep telling me to throw my computer away. No, I have XP, okay, and I guess I've gone as far as.
You can no longer update.
Yeah,
XP.
I keep going through it, and
Yeah.
it says grow up. Buy one.
Get out that wallet. All right. Okay, so this is, I'll just go through this one kind of quickly. Parents and community, and the links also show up on the side here, the same things that are outside the one that you're in. So we have, the annual reports, parents and community can get those. They can look for the Common Core standards, documents and forms, like permission to go on a field trip, that kind of thing. Food service, Infinite Campus, this is where the parents can go in. For those schools that have the parent portal open, parents can go in and see what's going on with their students. NECAP test results. We have another, this is, I think it's here, let me see. There's another calendar. Let me see if it's, yeah. So this gives you the month view, but if you click on this too, this will give you the view that you're used to seeing for the whole year. So you just check out the whole year at once if you're so inclined. So
A lot of information.
you got that going. And oops. So staff, we did community staff.
Right.
Yes,
Are
sir.
those dates, like the 18, 19 there where it says 25th, if you click there, does it give you what they're talking about?
25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, yes. Yep.
Cool as that.
All right, and what was the bottom one of this? School board, we already did that one back when. Okay, then over here we have departments. Oh, and I do want to make it clear, because I know I haven't, but when we started putting this together and we sent it out to the building principals and we sent it out to some teachers, we got feedback on it. We tweaked it as we got feedback on it. We wanted to keep it consistent as much as possible still, though. I mean, we wanted to have a particular feel to the whole thing. So so if somebody's got a student who's going from BSD to the middle school and they want to see what's going on at the website, they've got, a similar experience and on through. So, but we are, as Leon mentioned earlier, like that change on the on how we're going to do that board packet with the date. We want that input too. So if you see something that you really think you'd like to have, I'd rather you not tell me. I mean, it's okay to tell me tonight, but if you really want it done, it's better to send me an email after the fact so that I don't forget. But there are changes and that we would be happy to make as long as we can do it everywhere and give everybody the same experience. Administration is it's all of the central office administration, but also the building administrators, and contact information on them, okay? With a phone number that they can be reached at, so it includes the assistant principals. We wanted to get all the building administrators on there. These are links, so if we wanted to send Jim an email, we should be able to. Yeah, it opened up down here. So that will link to their email. I'm going to close out of that. Sure, yes, because that hasn't been opened on this computer yet, so we're not going to go there. But it'll link to everybody's email if you've ever sent an email. And the central office staff is basically the people who are located in central office. Again, you can contact these folks. And that says curriculum. So the curriculum that we do have on record is posted. There's a little, we've got the curriculum director listed, and all of the departments would be set up like that as far as having the person listed. And these are links to the documents that we do have available. And we're working on getting more of that together as the curriculum teams build it out, addressing it with the Common Core. This says early childhood, and that's a page we're still building. Early childhood's been real busy getting Division Street open and getting prepared for all the new kids coming in and all that stuff, so we just haven't had a chance to get all of the dialogue on there yet. And then finance, and this gives you a list of the finance department. They're all listed on the right here. It's going to be the same with HR, and I think we're going to actually move to this format with a few of the other departments that it would make sense to do that. Finance has some frequently asked questions on here for people. It's fairly easy to read who you need to contact for what your concern is or your need for information is. Human resources. I'm not going to go through all of them, but same sort of thing, contacts over on the right, and some other things over there on the left that are relevant to human resources. That says something, special education, and then technology, I think, is a lot. So that's how you would find people by department. So a lot of it is how do you find the information that you're looking for, and I think it's fairly intuitive. If it's not, that's one of the things that I would be interested in knowing. How can we make it be easier to get around without making it be a big, giant, messy billboard that looks like something that you've stuck notes on all over the place? We wanted to clean things up. We have certainly have places to put announcements. And once people are used to using this, and it's been online for several months now, I haven't heard too many complaints at all, and I've heard some pretty good positive comments, and a few good suggestions too that have led us to change some things. And then the contact is the final tab here, and this is the staff directory, again, probably central office, and it's set up the same way in schools. Whoops, what am I clicking wrong here? Yeah, everybody's job is listed clearly. These are linkable, email addresses. It's easy to find people, and I think it's easy to find information. So that's pretty much it. We go to I think I like Pownell's colors. Every building has a different color, basically. This projector isn't the best projector in the land, but. So these are some of the work from Pownell School on that slideshow, and same thing in every other school. So that's pretty much it. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yes?
So back to policy again, in order to get a draft version that we're working on, that's not going to be available on this site because...
If it's not, it can be. It's not a problem. I don't know that it's there. I'm thinking that it is because I'm thinking it's going to be. I just haven't looked for it myself, and I didn't put that particular page together. So let me see here.
So if I made a meeting in September, but I didn't make October's, and I want to catch up for November's with whatever information transpired in October, how do I
Right.
find the
I'm looking.
current draft.
What I did was I went to the board page and calendar, audit reports, board documents.
Yep.
I'm guessing that there's going to be a policy committee there.
Yes, there is. I've been-
You already checked it out, Ray?
You went to archive or current?
I went to archive. for
Well,
that.
archive it in there, but if we're ready to have the meeting, before they get to the meeting, if you're preparing, then you want to see the subcommittee's agenda, mainly the policy one is the one we work on a lot, and everybody that's looking for that information to be able to read it and understand it before it gets to before they get to the meeting. We used to be able to click on that, it's policy committee, you used to be able to click on the details.
There it is.
For that, let's see, here, so October 6th details, there's nothing there now, because October 6th is not here.
September 8th,
Monday's meeting
There it
of
is.
September 8th is up here.
there's
Okay.
your agenda.
Let me just walk you through how I got there again. It's because it's a board committee. It's under, board documents. So,
I think I
This is-
got there, I just didn't get the drafts. I guess that's,
okay, yeah,
Oh, boy.
so they should be there.
Oh,
So SVSU board, well, we'll make sure they're there. If they're not there, certainly it's not a problem. SVSU board documents, and then, I can do this a lot faster if I had a regular mouse in my hand, but, and then, again, board documents, because the current one's easier to find, because that's usually the one you're dealing with, but then board documents. And scroll down to policy committee or personnel committee or whatever committee you're looking for. And latest agenda will be there, just like it's there with the SVSU board meeting agenda, but the documents you're looking for will be over here. So, okay?
okay, got it.
Other
Thank you.
questions or concerns or
Yeah,
suggestions?
one more.
Yes, Leon?
SVSU has a close partner in the vicinity, and that is the Career Development Center.
Yep,
There was a link in the old one where when the parents or somebody needed to know something, at least about the shared effort between the Mount Anthony and some other places, they were able to go, if their students were taking career development classes, be able to see the link and go right there to that site. I don't see that in here. Did I miss it somewhere?
so you'd like to see a link to the Career Development Center?
That's right. We want it to be one place where you can go, because these are the same students that are in the SVSU that are also taking classes at the CDC. And that link before was a link right on one of the pages when we went right through here. That was a link that you just clicked on and says that SVSU or something, CDC for policies that may be different or whatever. I forget what the language was, but it was something there.
It might be on the high school site, and this is
go.
one of the reasons that I'm not giving away the keys to the bank necessarily, but
Let's go into the high
I don't know if it's on the high school site or not. I can put it on the SVSU site, and
I
I can
didn't
put it on
didn't
the high
see it,
school
but if
site.
it's high school site, as long as it's out here somewhere, I didn't see it. And let's see, quick links to that.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that. This is really big for some reason. So I don't know.
I don't see the link that will allow you to see things, to be able to connect to that site for this Career Development Center that used to be there.
Okay, well, we'll get it back on. Not a problem. I'll look and see if it's just somewhere where I'm not seeing it, but, and if it is, I'll make sure that it's put someplace where it's easy to find. Will that be good?
Yeah.
All righty.
So just to restate something, all the information on the site is controlled by you. Everybody has to go through you to get something on or off the site, ultimately.
Through me or one of the people who
Oh,
are.
your
the web-
department,
the
your
webmasters.
group.
Yep.
You're webmasters, wow.
No, it can be arranged, but it's not a good idea if you've got a secure site to have 15 people have access
Gotcha.
to all the information. And there's no way, without spending about 6 times as much money, to create a different site for each building. What we did was we're able to combine all of these under one license so that we can, and that's why we have to share we share the password and login and all that stuff. Makes sense?
Yeah.
But I'm perfectly willing to sit with people, and a couple of things, for example, it's not a problem at all giving access to the calendar. Everybody will have their own individual calendars, and that's a separate thing, so if people wanted to update things on the calendar, that would be good. And I could look into seeing if we could do a similar thing with like on the side where we have the announcements, that kind of a thing. But when it comes to, when we run into issues sometimes too, is if somebody puts in, misspells somebody's name in their email address. That happens sometimes. And if you've got a whole bunch of people doing it and somebody knows this person is Kathy and somebody knows her as Katie and somebody knows her, it gets sticky.
Behind Karen?
I just want to say to the person that uses this, I can typically email Frank, often it's in the evening, and by often that night or the next morning, it's already on the website, and then Frank really delegates it to somebody else to do it, both that and the Facebook page. So it's really fast.
It is.
Efficient.
Yeah, it is pretty quick. I mean, if somebody said something, I did want to also show this because I'm not sure if everybody's aware of this. Jim, I'm wrapping up here as fast as I can. Let me see. It was the, what's that one says? About us, quick links. Oops. The school closings for parents and community, we list every possible place that we put the school closings on. But we also have, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, we also have this K-12 alerts here, which anybody in the community that has an interest can sign up and get an email sent to them, an email or a text sent to them if there's an emergency or a school closing for whatever reason. We populate that with contact information from Infinite Campus for parents and students. They can opt out if they want, but I don't think anybody ever does. But this is just something that we started last year, and it's, for emergency purposes or even for just announcements, it's a handy thing. And people can just go there and sign, create an account, and you get messages from us. And that's all I have, unless you have questions. Yeah.
I think it's a great improvement, Frank, and you and your department deserve a lot of credit.
Thank you,
Easy
Ken.
to navigate, easy to understand, and you're willing to take the adjustments that the board has.
Absolutely. Yeah, we want it to be, it's not ever going to be done, because we're always going to be putting in updated information or whatnot. And even as, when we start putting in that information, we discovered just today a couple of things like, oh gee, if we put these contact people on the right, it looks better, it's easier to find, so we're going to continue to tweak it. As far as updating it goes, it's a real quick, it really is, as Karen had mentioned. I appreciate that, Karen. All right, I am going to close out here, I believe. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Is anybody else going to be doing the presentation? No. Or not? Can I turn this off?
You can.
Okay, thank you again. The next item, number 3, is a finance operations related. 10 minutes. That's something.
Yeah. I have the warrant here with me for you to pass around. We have for you to sign, and that's,
Yeah, consent agenda.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have a treasurer's report was online. Anybody have any questions? If not, can we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Move that.
Second?
Okay, motion and second. All in favor? Unanimous. New business, any new business? Seeing none. Personnel? Anything on the personnel? The hires are all under consent?
Yeah, there is, I have a modified amended consent agenda to give you because we had a resignation today.
Still here.
Yeah, the resignation is in red, so that's the only change from what you had in your packet.
Okay. Okay, now we go to the consent agenda. Can we have a motion to accept the consent? And a second? Okay, any discussion on it?
Yes.
Yes.
And you heard this, but I think everybody did a pretty good job, but we missed one in here in terms of, we have a nomination on here where one person applied for the job, and it was only one person that did the interview, and we got an HR director in addition to the superintendent and somebody else, and so that Elizabeth Finkowich, I think, is on there. And even though you have one person to protect the board again, to make sure that somebody else is helping do these interviews and approve them, I mean, to just listen in is what needs to happen. So this, all of them went through okay, except for that one.
I have a question on the same item.
Yes.
What does parentally placed mean? On number D.
I know the lady was an employee of the Bennington School District last year.
But parental, the parent placed them?
That term I don't understand.
I didn't understand that term either. That's what I saw.
Yes.
We'll answer that, thank you.
Sometimes families with children with disabilities choose private school. And so there's a small allocation of our IDEAB grant that goes to support the children in private schools who have disabilities. They're not on an IEP, they're on what's called a service plan. And the people in the private schools get together and they decide how the allocation will be utilized. And so we need somebody to be able to do that service. Sometimes it's a professional, sometimes it's a paraprofessional supervised by a professional. It depends upon what the population is, and it's decided on annually. Does that help?
Yes, okay. She worked for us last year, right?
Yes, she did.
Okay. So she'll be the go-between the private schools like Sacred Heart and Grace Christians?
Oh, okay, that
Yeah.
Okay.
That's primarily the two places, but it changes, it changes on a regular basis. But those are the two places typically that we provide services.
Thank you very much for that information. Yes.
Just reading through this just received resignation, I think we really have to remember that with all the hassles that go on, there are some really dedicated people that are willing to give up their job because they do not feel that they can continue to ask for medical leave. And I think that says a lot for the teachers that we hire and the paras.
Yes, for sure, yeah.
And I do have a comment on one of the nominations, the Assistant Superintendent, Donna
Yeah, that's
Leap.
right. I'll take my hand down. That's
Let me explain what I'm proposing here. That is a .4 position. That works out to 2 days a week. I don't consider this, the contract, I do not consider this a permanent solution to the position of Assistant Superintendent. We will re-advertise to fill that position. The pool that we received after the last time we advertised, I didn't think was deep enough. So one of the challenges that I'm facing is on our coordinated our federal programs, our federal grant money. Received numerous letters from the state that we do not have anybody overseeing those grants and coordinating them, and there's a lot of money at stake. Title I alone is like $2.9 million. So in response to that, what her job will be the 2 days a week is really dealing just with the coordinated federal programs, and I will continue to pursue to fill that program full-time. So it'll be a one-year contract with a 30-day notification clause by either one of us. So if I hire earlier, then I hire earlier. If it turns out to be the year, that's a possibility. As you know, once we're into a school year, it's difficult to get quality people to leave their current position. So now it's a stopgap fix. There was a loss of institutional history with the transition of administration here, so I feel this will help me immensely with, particularly with the federal grants. I hope that answers.
Ken,
Yes?
going along with that, what Jim has mentioned, I noticed that you resurrected that personnel committee.
Yes.
So maybe before the evening is out, we can get together and find out when we can meet, and we'll get together with Jim and see if we can't get a better handle on these. So maybe a couple of minutes after the regular meeting, we'll see if we can find a date for next week and get going. Thanks, Jim. I'll call the question.
One other just
Yes.
quick thing. I just wanted to disclose that nominee C, Chris Donza, was somebody who used to report to me indirectly.
Okay, thank you.
We found that out when we did the reference checks.
I told him, to be honest, if you know someone, you should.
Yep, good.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions on the consent? Yes?
I have a question on a voucher, Ken,
Voucher? Yes.
on the warrants.
Yep. We got the box right here.
Okay. It's probably nothing you can give me an answer for tonight.
And I might be able to get back to you on it.
I'm used to getting that answer. We spent, it's on voucher number 2004, and I believe it's on page 48. And it concerns the expenditure for legal advice or whatever, legal services. I'd just like a breakdown on that if possible, to just see where we're spending and who's triggering those expenses. There's one other little item.
On 2004, you said, right?
Yeah, it's
Legal,
2004,
page
voucher 2004, page,
48.
I guess it's actually
47 and 48.
47 and 48.
Okay.
There's a very small item underneath that called SVSU Hot Lunch. It's $1.25 coupons for classroom incentives. What's that? And you can get back to me on that one, too.
I will, Larry.
Thank you.
I have a guess, but I don't want to guess, so I will get back to you.
Just curious. It's not a lot of money, but there's a bit of a principle in there.
I'm thinking it could be part of the student reward program, the acronym I'm forgetting. What is it? The PBIS, thank you. I think it could be part of that, which is behavior modification, classroom management, that there are rewards, but I'm not sure that is it.
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, all right.
Will you distribute those answers to
All of you,
us?
yes. Yep. Thank you. If it's asked at a meeting like this, I will make sure that everyone gets the answer.
Any other questions on the budget, on the finance or the personnel? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the consent agenda, raise your hand. Okay, unanimous, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, policies, number 7. We have two numbers, 6350, grade advancement, retention, promotion, and acceleration of students, and this is to warn. And again, the public is always welcome. What is it, Leon, the first Mondays of the month? When
The
you
first
meet?
Monday of the month to do this. This policy mainly is an upgrade from a review with Mount Anthony in the middle school in determining the retention and promotion and what the requirements are for graduation, and to manage the administrative regs that go along with that. So this is his first review after some time that it's been out there to go through.
And it's a 4:30 meeting on the 6th, if anybody needs to.
Yeah, I think it's good for the public to realize that they are also invited to the policies instead of having to come to this meeting, and then when we already get a printed copy where you could take testimony in at your meetings and move forward from there.
There was a pretty serious controversy in Pownell over the lice policy, so some people from Pownell are coming to your meeting.
Just to say, every board in the SVSU have a board member that's responsible for making sure at least 1, 2, or 3, as many as possible,
Angie's gonna.
to come to the board, to be able to have knowledge of what's going on at the policy committee so that we won't have these things, what you're saying is taking place at the board meeting. I mean, the knowledge is there. It should be enough so that when it leaves the committee, that the persons understand what we're trying to do and why we did it. And if that is not sufficient, then yeah, you can come, because we hold an open policy committee for review. It's not necessary that the policy is going to be changed, but we want to listen to what everybody has to say.
Yes, Dave?
I always find it helpful to see highlighted the changes to the policy if, in fact, it's not a brand new policy. And oftentimes we do get a highlighted version. This one, at least the version I'm looking at, doesn't seem to be highlighted. You know, I don't know who's responsible for doing that administratively.
We can make sure that gets changed. That's an easy thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
A lot of times when it gets to this board, they want it cleaned up too. So they don't want the highlights, they don't want the strikeouts.
Other board members have said that. Right.
Yeah.
we were going with highlights, different color paper. We did strike-throughs. We did the funny print type of thing. So it just keep going around in the circles, because each time somebody says, well, I want this change, then they said, leave it in there, just strike it so that we can see it and know what you changed versus that. But this is a real overhaul of this policy here. So I mean, you wouldn't really understand, the other policy was really dated. And so this is a clear policy straight through out here, so.
Do we
Yes,
have a
Ray.
motion to warn it on the floor or not?
Yes. Well,
No,
no.
not yet, no.
So
We just-
I'll move it.
Okay. We have a second.
Can we have a little more discussion?
Oh, yeah, go ahead now.
You know, I'll vote to warn it, but just a cursory examination of the initial, I think it's goals, or I forget exactly how it's termed, versus the implementation shows that there's a little bit of incoherence in the policy, I think, and that needs to be examined, because the goals speak to basically run as if the standard for any of these decisions is mastery of Common Core state standards appropriate for the particular individual, and but implementation is a much more nuanced and varied set of parameters, and I think those are at odds, because last month when I wasn't here, you had, not that that mattered, you had a lengthy discussion of exactly the meaning of Nickleby's identification of all Vermont schools that took the kneecaps. And part of that discussion is exactly on that target that I'm speaking to, which is that Nickleby uses a test measure as the gold standard for what's going on in our schools, and we all know this is not right. So I think this policy has a little schizophrenic character to it at the moment, as written.
So just to make sure I understand, and we'll be back in committee, because this is what we do, is get information when we want it out here. What Ray is talking about, the Common Core section, there's a paragraph in there for that. Is that?
It's
okay.
in the first part.
Right, in background.
Background. Yeah.
Right, and so
And then if you go down to implementation,
okay.
you have a different view, a different vision. And I think the implementation vision is more closely related to what we want to be talking about in this policy.
Okay.
We can wordsmith it.
I'm certain that Bruce Lehrman will represent our views on this
Yeah.
pretty strongly at the meeting, but
Okay.
I just thought I'd bring it up here
Right.
because you had this discussion last month.
I was reading an article at the beginning of this week about retention, and I guess they've done a lot of studies with it, and between self-esteem and different things, it really doesn't seem to help youngsters a lot. But one thing it did mention, though, is that a good quality summer school for 6 weeks, 7 weeks could really make a big improvement in the youngster when they move on to the next one, if we get them to go and offer that type of summer education. Instead of holding a kid back, give them an extra 6, 7 weeks of strong academics this summer before they move on for more reinforcement. That seems to work better.
Right. The background portion of the policy is formatted in a way that reminds you of QC, quality control. You know, the part fails or it succeeds. And our kids aren't that way. And that's why the more nuanced approach is more appropriate. And the implementation is closer to the description of what should be going on, I think.
Okay, any other discussion on policy 6350?
I kind of like it. So,
Okay, then can, all in favor of warning this? Remember, we're not adopting, we're just warning this. It's going back to the committee. All in favor? Okay, unanimous? And the next, B, policy 5156, student nutrition and wellness. And this is a motion to adopt. So
I'll move it.
Okay, can we have a second?
Second it.
Second. Okay, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of adopting 5156 student nutrition? Raise your hand, and that's unanimous. Okay, thank you. Okay, superintendent's report.
Good evening, and I apologize for arriving late. I forgot your warrants. That's what I had to go back for. I'm not used to bringing them. Couple items tonight. Some have already addressed earlier in the meeting that I had in my report. I mentioned to you about why I was bringing Donna Leap on for 2 days a week. That was part of my, you've already heard that. But I will mention this. Last April 2nd through 4th, we had an on-site monitoring visit by the state of Vermont on our consolidated federal programs. It's an audit, really, of our federal programs, but they call it an on-site monitoring visit. They had 9 findings that they required action, so that we needed to correct. So we received a letter this week, September 22nd, that they want to thank the supervisory union for correcting the actions, and they now consider the monitoring visit itself finalized, and all corresponding issues brought forth from that visit have been addressed and considered resolved. And I'll say that they want to thank Donna Leap and Lisa Poplaski for their effort in submitting all the required documentation to get this these outstanding issues corrected. So I also want to thank them for submitting that documentation, for getting that corrected. So that's part of that report. That was a good thing. The other thing that I was going to bring in my report is what came up in Pownell, and to give this committee a heads up, the lice policy does seem to be an issue with, particularly in Pownell. There is a online petition that keeps getting forwarded to me that now has 100 signatures on it, so just want to make you aware of that, and we will have to address that at the policy committee meeting, and you heard Leon's response on that, so I'm not going to belabor that. I think I want to give you a heads up on some budget impact issues, because we're beginning budget season, and one I really want to talk to you about, the one that I'm concerned about, is pre-K expansion, universal pre-K. So what I am being told, and what this universal pre-K, there is not going to be additional funds from the state coming, and we're being cautioned by the state about not being able to expend our Title I funds on it. If that is the case, it could have a very large budget impact on us. On Monday, Karen Brunell and I will be going to a meeting in Rutland on the possibility of sharing in a federal grant to pay for this expanded pre-K, which can't be labeled anything else but an unfunded mandate. No guarantee that, so this is really a informational meeting that we'll be attending on Monday. We will be a partner to the grant, not necessarily the fiscal agent, but it's, as we've been told, a highly competitive grant with no guarantees. So that is, as we enter budget season, something that I want you to be aware that I am very concerned about, but we'll keep you informed as we get more information. What we hear on Monday, which, we won't have, we certainly won't know we get the grant Monday or whether we're eligible, but, and Karen and I have begun preliminary discussions about what, we have a pretty substantial pre-K program right now with a network of partners, so my question to her is to start looking at numbers of what this expansion would look like if it's offered to all students, and that is really just in the first stage, but I don't want anybody blindsided when budget season comes and we tell you, look at this impact from universal pre-K.
Jim, when you say an unfunded mandate, unfunded by who?
Well, the mandate for universal pre-K, and let me get the right piece of paper, came from last spring as an initiative of the governor, if I understand correctly. And Karen can...
I guess my question is this, is it unfunded from the state of Vermont or unfunded by the federal government?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, what they're telling us is there's a potential for a competitive grant to get additional money, but you use our existing resources to pay for this expansion. So there's no dedicated new money budget line item coming to us for this.
I'm only asking that question because if it means a substantial increase, I think that I'm speaking on behalf of the Bennington School District Board, that we're in serious trouble. We're going to be in serious trouble without that particular item hitting us. So we need to either take some fast action or some hard decisions very soon.
Question for Karen, how many pre-K students do we have in the supervisory union today?
Preliminary count, don't quote me because it's still raw. The data's still raw. We're still finalizing applications for pre-K, but it looks as though we're about 195 4-year-olds across the SU right now.
200.
And I looked at the enrollment study to see, looked at past data, current data. We currently have looked at 80% of the population participating. We've been pretty on with that, between 70, 80% of the population. Shasberry actually this year is at 100% of the students in Shasberry, according to the enrollment report, who have enrolled. The 3-year-old population could add another 170 potentially. And, I think what it would be helpful to do is to have a formal kind of presentation about, where we've been, where we are, where we're going.
Which is coming.
Which is coming.
Right.
Which is coming. It's something
But
Jim and I have
you
talked
just
about.
weren't ready yet. But according to my notes, last December, Vermont was awarded a Race to the Top Early Learning Challenge Grant. And since then, the governor's Early Learning Framework and Action Plan was completed, and universal access to preschool law was passed by the Vermont legislature. And that's what, so currently, there's a working group in place to see, the grant, there's not enough in the grant for everybody. We're a community that's considered a high priority, and that's what we'll be going to on Monday. So it's probably not panic time yet, and the whole purpose of me bringing this up tonight, though, is to put it on everybody's radar screen that it is a concern.
Doesn't that, if you fold them into the system, doesn't that increase your ADM and therefore money has to follow based on?
Yes, it should, but it wouldn't, it's not going to cover everything, no. So it's too early to tell what the budget impact is, and that's not my attempt this evening to give you that, but just to let you know one of the things that we are working on and that we are concerned about, so.
Jim, excuse me. Go ahead.
I see big red flags, and maybe we should be panicking right now, not only on the kindergarten issue, but on the continued assault about unfunded mandates at both a federal and state level. I think it's a great program. I want to see it go. But we keep getting bombarded with great programs that would be very helpful to our population, but then there's the flip side that, hey, taxpayers, you hold the ball. And we have no control over saying how much or how little, or, it is impossible to continue going on under this issue. I don't have the answers, but I think maybe our legislators better get very serious in this thing and do it fast.
Correct. Okay, Dave?
Yeah, I just want to echo what Dick suggested. In Shaftesbury last year, when we were looking at the budgetary impact of pre-K for 4-year-olds, Rick went through the numbers with us, and because of the equalized pupil count that is assigned at that age group, it's not one equalized pupil for K through 12.
Because it's not full-time.
It's not full-time. Because whatever fraction of an equalized pupil the state assigned, and because of the actual cost of providing the education to that age group, and it's not as much as we spend on educating a high school or even a kindergartner, the tax rate, and Rick was able to show us this, the tax rate in Shaftesbury went down by adding those however many 25 or so Shaftesbury 4-year-olds that were to our equalized pupil count. So I don't know whether the same math is likely to apply.
It very well could, because
Across the board.
oftentimes you'll see when we cut a budget, tax rate can go up because you lose that equalized value. So it all depends on the
Yeah,
individual
so
town.
I guess I'm just saying, I'm not sure that there's any need to panic or even to be alarmed until we
Yeah.
have a
This
clearer
was
sense of.
really meant as information, to put it on all on your radar that this is coming and we're going to have to deal with it. It could turn out to be, as you say, beneficial, but
And to that point.
Too early to tell.
If I could just add, Jim, I think that, I'm not an expert, but the consensus among those who are seems to be that getting kids into school at as early as possible
Yeah.
makes a huge difference by the time they get to be 18.
it's a very admirable goal, and Avis said the same thing. I think we're all on board that this should happen, but we need to be financially prepared for it. And the impact on physical space, too, is something that Karen and I have been discussing.
Based on the 200 current pre-K students, I'd like to agree with Dave, not to get so alarmed, that comes out to about $600,000 for the entire school year, which in the grand scheme of things, that's a lot of money to me, but in the grand scheme of things, that's the number, $600,000. And then we'll probably get some, as you say, with the student count. We've all experienced, a couple, 3 years I've been here, where special ed situation rolls in and we're paying $200,000-300,000 for one student to be taken care of. So if we're able to take care of 200 pre-K students for $600,000, I'm sure we can find the money somewhere. It's one of the things that I think should be done. Thank you.
And if I could just say one
Yes.
thing. So I appreciate Jim putting this on the agenda because everyone is a little bit nervous about the law and what it means. And one of the disadvantages we're in is that it was passed very late and they're pushing it forward very fast. And we don't have enough information to be able to help us right now. And we've been promised that we're going to get some guidance from AOE around budgeting implications. There's a lot of data collection going on now. In fact, they asked for point people in the districts just to be able to have speed in getting information so that they can figure out the guidance so that when we do our budgets, we're fully informed. But there is a rulemaking process happening. The state board last Tuesday approved to move forward with a rulemaking process for 166. Perhaps we could put that 166 on the web or get it in the board packet, so if people want to look at it, if there's particular things that you would take issue of that you want us to represent in the rulemaking process, I think we could do that. I know, Jim, you'll be in some circles, I'll be in other circles, and we'll probably be in similar circles, sharing that information. But they are in the process of making the rules. We can't change the law. So we have to do pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds starting in September. We can't change the law, but what they're asking for is input right now on how it gets implemented. So any input is welcome, and we can share that with
Just pay for it.
through that process.
Thank you, Karen.
The last item I have is, we have a agreement for non-instructional services between the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union and the Village School of North Bennington, our special needs really service agreement. But this was just completed Monday afternoon, so I am not ready to bring this forward to you. I don't know, I don't think it's going to impact service. I hate to delay it another month, but it was just completed by our attorneys on Monday afternoon. I just want you aware that it's done. It doesn't vary much from the existing contract that was there. So I'm asking for advice on this. It's done, but I think it needs to be reviewed and then signed by the chair. So I don't know if would be the wish of this committee to authorize the chair to review it and sign it with the superintendent. Or it would be the wish of the committee to wait a month.
Is this the non-instructional services
Yes.
agreement, or is this a specific child agreement?
No, this is the non-instructional service agreement.
Okay. Is this going,
I don't know if it would
this will be,
impact-
holdup of money?
I don't know that answer, Ray. So I don't know what impact it would be if we delay it another month.
Yeah, I'd be opposed to anything that delays them actually getting paid for the services they are providing already.
Right.
They are providing the services.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. And I think we should authorize that the chair go ahead and be authorized to sign once
Yeah.
you
It's
work
been
it out.
approved by our attorney.
Is that a motion, right?
Yeah, I make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so as soon as you go over it.
Yeah,
with
and then
counsel,
I'll
you get-
contact you that I am confident that I had the time to read it and review it properly. And then
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, second.
Ray already did it.
Yeah.
Already had a motion.
All in favor? Okay, thank you.
And I said that was done, but I have one more thing. Avis, you weren't there last Monday night, and so it's my honor to give you, from the Vermont School Board Association, a 5-year service award for your years of service on the Woodford School Board, so.
Thank you.
Congratulations, there you go. And I will need an executive session at the end of this meeting for a personnel matter.
I have 2 items. The question.
Question.
If you're ready. The 9 findings, were we going to be aware of those with that document or those findings such that we would know what they were?
Oh,
That
from
you
the
spoke
state,
to.
you mean, the one that was
Right.
corrected?
Because I didn't,
Yeah, I assumed you got that report in April, but I will double check and see, I'll get that out to
oh,
you
that was
again.
back in April.
Back in April.
Well, that's when the complaints came in.
That's
but
what
they-
I'm saying.
in the summer, they straightened
So
them out.
I only have the letter that we have corrected them, but I could get
Okay.
to you what those were if you would like.
Well, I just didn't know, I thought it was something new that was taking place here and then was being looked at and so forth. If it's in April, then we should be able to go back on the package and look at.
It probably wouldn't have been in your April agenda, because the meeting, they were on site here April 2nd through 4th, but let me review that, because I wasn't here, so I don't know if it was on your May, did you get a report in May from that, or when you actually got the report?
Okay, I can,
So you could check whether it's on the website.
Yep.
And notify us that it is or it is not, whatever.
Okay.
and, and then the last item is just what was just said, that there were a reason for executive session, and I guess I got an email, you got an email about
got it, yep.
how we should prepare the agenda in terms of saying if necessary. If possible, I mean, we need to be able to know ahead of time so that if the public, we, or somebody know what it is that we're having to go in executive session for.
Yeah, we're gonna, I
State
got
that.
that email, and we'll make that correct, try that again. We'll make that correction that, we shouldn't make the assumption there's gonna be one every meeting. It does, so, what I need to verify, because the email referenced that you people had voted and discussed on this and got advisories from legal counsel. So since the email this morning, I didn't really have time to verify that, because I don't know, like, say we didn't put executive session on the agenda at all, and I need an executive session because if something came up, say a personnel matter, can we go ahead and have that if it hasn't been warned? My belief is yes, we can, but I want to be sure of that. If we know in advance, then certainly what we now know we shouldn't be putting if needed,
No,
and we'll just put,
if needed.
yeah. Well, what the email he's referring to is I got that we're not supposed to be putting
Won't be more specific.
if needed. We need to be more specific when possible. So executive session, personnel, which is what's
Yeah, that's all.
contract negotiation. So that should be there, or it shouldn't be on there at all. So a housekeeping issue. So Mary Lee, as you know, prepared this, so Mary Lee and I went over that this morning, and we already made some corrections for next week's agendas for BSD and Woodford.
Okay, is that it?
Yes.
Under Chair's report, I just want to congratulate, we had 12 members of the SVSU district at the VSBA meeting. I think it was one of the largest representations. Ms. Holbrook was there, the Agency of Education, and our legal counsel of the VSBA was there, and I thought it was worthwhile. We had over 60 people in attendance. What they've done is they compressed the number of meetings, so the results are better, and they brought down the commissioner secretary, and I think it worked out well. We had two good slides, and basically, she said the budget's in our hands, and if we can reduce from, was it 4.7 to 5, the average of adult to a kid in the district, that you could save $74 million in the state of Vermont. And she gave us numbers like 20% of the schools in Vermont have between 2 to 9 kids in a class. Those are, startling numbers. And, it's up to us to, I guess, not always complain about budgets, but try to do something about them. The other thing, I was asked to get the personnel committee going, and what I did is I got a sheet out. I took one person from each of the various boards, and I got an email from Joy, and she asked me if I remembered anything about what a deadline was or when they were thinking of getting for advertising superintendent or making decisions and so forth. So she went back and did a lot of research, checked the minutes for the past several months, and came back and said there was really no motions made about deciding on what way we're going to go. So I think that's probably one of the things the Personnel Committee should be digging into. And she has some ideas. I think it'd be worthwhile if you ask her to come in and talk with you about what her ideas are about the personnel going forward with the administration too.
Well, could I have a minute? While we're on that, can we get a date and let's go ahead and set that up
Why don't you wait till after the meeting, okay?
after the meeting?
Because we'll be in executive,
Okay,
all right?
and we'll get it set for next week.
And the other thing is that I hear a lot about the Common Core, and I've heard from, matter of fact, 2 people on the BSD board have complained about it. When they tried to help, one was trying to help their youngster, one was trying to help their grand-youngster in doing some math. And they thought they did a good job helping the kid, and when the work came back, it was marked wrong, even though the answers were right, because I guess there's really a system on how this stuff works. And yesterday's Wall Street Journal had an article in here, this lady, she's an engineering professor of Oakland University in Rochester, Michigan, and she did mention things like, you know, it's kind of foolish to put 5 rows of beans times 5 rows of beans and having kids work like that. And she says, you know, when you ask a kid what's 5 times 5, it's nice if they just know 25 without having to use their fingers, hands, or the beans. And this one was in this week's Time magazine in the back editorial. And this person wrote, it says here, just this morning I saw the NBC affiliate in Buffalo has produced a series of videos to help parents understand first grade math homework. They had to produce this just to help them out. You know, I think it's important that if we have a lot of parents that want to help their youngsters, but they don't have the knowledge, that somehow we can get the, you know, if they're willing to come after school or evenings or whenever it is, or we offer some help to those parents in all the school districts, that they can come in and get instructed. Because, you know, I took one of these, and I got one from my grandson, and I got one of these off the Facebook. I noticed, is, you know, the math is kind of confusing, but the level of reading for like a first and second and third grader is amazing. I mean, you know, I just can't believe that they expect first, second graders to be able to read that stuff and then comprehend the math problem on top of it. In the old days, you know, it was 2 numbers on top, 2 on the bottom, you add them up, got an answer. But, I mean, they're incorporating the reading, but it seems quite difficult. It really is.
Well, Ken, most of the information going back to that math is that the older generation is unable to take what they're now preaching on Common Core, so that the child is coming home with a homework, and the parents are saying, we're not able to help our children with it.
Right.
So,
We heard that last month at the panel board meeting.
Right.
Parents came and expressed some concern with the Go Math curriculum that we're
Right.
using, and they specifically have asked for some workshops and
Yeah.
help with that. So we're hearing that.
Okay.
So I think that's important, if we can get something like that, you know.
Ken?
Yeah, yes, sorry?
This brings us back to certainly the revelation I had, and I think a lot of you were here at the time, were giggling about it, when we got told that the way the young mind works today is not the way our young minds worked at that time. And that is an uncomfortable reality, I think. It's a true reality, but it's an uncomfortable reality because we can do a math problem and come up with the right answer, but it's not a matter of coming up with the right answer. It's a matter of understanding how to go through an entirely different process that our children are now being taught. So, yeah, I do think that there is a great concern there. There has been a concern expressed by some of the Woodford parents as well. And possibly this is something that somewhere along the line, rather quickly, we're going to have to deal with, find out what are the biggest problems that our helping generation is running into, and then see if we can't figure out some solutions to help them understand as well. And I think maybe that is a part of the learning process that we need to be responsible for.
especially if parents are crying out, they want some help, we should be able to offer it to them, yes. Yeah,
I agree that we should be trying to do something for the parents. And the software packages, some of them out there these days, that the kids are supposed to be working at home with, as far as they give good instructions if you just get them to the site, and it's repetition type of stuff that is showing them and giving them, giving them the guess and telling the kids that don't feel bad if you miss the answer, because we'll give you the answer, and and you keep on going and so forth like that. It's this exposure that we're trying to make sure happen out here. Lots of exposure needs to take place at an early age. And whatever we need to do that, if we need to, everybody should be having some kids hook on to the software packages from home that's related to the school, I would guess, to do certain things, or go to those public sites to be able to practice and do these things. Thanks.
anybody else? Okay, now one more item we have under other, we have, our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, October 22nd. Jim, our superintendent, has looked ahead and we'll come up with dates for November and December, because the November meeting is the day before Thanksgiving, and the December one is the day before Christmas holiday. And what days were you thinking, Tuesdays?
Yeah, we looked at the Tuesday before, it seemed to be open, so, but we'll
Okay,
send that out.
Yeah, you have a definite date for next meeting.
Next meeting, we'll have it
Should we have-
amended, because there's actually 3 dates that are impacted.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, anything under other now for anybody? Okay, seeing nothing, then we need an executive session for personnel. Can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we go.
Second. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.